Hello, and welcome to the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast, the podcast redefining women's health, one unfiltered conversation at a time. I'm your host, Jacqueline Rose, and every week I'll sit down with leading women's health experts and real women to share their lived experiences, bust health myths, challenge outdated and uninformed narratives, and explore what's really possible for women. We'll talk about periods, fertility, menopause, hormones, aging, and everything in between. This podcast is for every woman who ever felt confused, dismissed, or left out of the conversation about her own health. It is a space to celebrate women, break the silence, and open up conversations between mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends. Please hit the follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode and share this podcast with your daughters, family, and friends. Let's get on with the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast. And today we are going to be taking another deep dive into a topic that some women have a lot of misconceptions about. There is sometimes a lot of fear around this topic, but we're really going to unpack it and hopefully change the narrative, which is one of the things I love to do on this podcast. And we're going to also really talk about not how it applies only for us as midlife women, but always how we can give this message over to the next generation in a way that is really interesting and engaging. I'm super excited to have Vanessa join me. We're going to be talking today about strength training and training in general and busting some very interesting misconceptions or preconceived ideas that a lot of us have around this topic. We all know in midlife, we are told we need to do more strength training. That is the key to supporting us as we age, osteoporosis, and all those types of things. So Vanessa is going to help us unpack this topic. It is definitely going to be a really fascinating conversation. Vanessa, welcome. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for for having invited me to the podcast. Um, like you said, we're gonna talk about all these things related to women's health and strength training. But basically, I'm Vanessa. Everyone calls me Vane. If you want to call me Vane, you can go ahead. I'm a women's personal trainer, currently based in Madrid, Spain, but working with people online all over the globe as well, and I specialize in training or introducing women to strength training and its benefits, and also encouraging women to move more for a better aging and for a better, longer life in a way.
Yes, amazing. So let's get straight into it because I know that officially and professionally you're called a personal trainer, but I know that with that title comes a lot of preconceived ideas of what your clients may experience when they sign up for a personal trainer. So I would imagine, as I know from a lot of my clients, from myself, from all women, you go to a personal trainer normally because you want to lose weight, you want to drop the pounds, you want to fit into that special dress for that special wedding or that special event. So, is that what you do, or is there something else going on here? Because I know that that is for most women the way they perceive what personal training is, the way they understand what exercise is about. It's really about the shape, your size, where you are today, and where you want to go.
Right, actually a great question. I do something completely different in a way, or yes, I am a personal trainer and I do help women with strength training or through strength training, but my focus is completely different from weight loss and aesthetics. So women who come to me usually come for different reasons. I had the odd person trying or telling me, yes, one of my goals is to lose weight or to fit into a certain uh, piece of clothing, item of clothing for X and Y, Z. I do have people who still want those things, but it's usually not their main goal. The main goal is to reduce aches and pains from everyday life, Maybe someone I'm gonna give you real life examples here,
Please
people, what
do.
they ask me,
Please
and then I'll
do.
tell you how we do it. So some people it's about reducing aches and pains. For example, I had a client who couldn't even lift a butter knife because her
Wow.
wrist would hurt. So a couple of weeks of training, and that just stopped. She can do that and a lot more right now. She has two big dogs that now she can walk, and these dogs they pull, and she can contain them,
Right.
and she couldn't do any of that like 3 months ago. I have people telling me, Vane, I travel a lot and I am embarrassed to have to ask an air hostess to put the luggage up in the
Oh,
overhead
I
compartment
love
for me.
that.
I want to do this
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
So we train, and the training brings them that goal or closer to that goal. Eventually, they can do that, and they're like, when they tell me, you can see their faces lit up. Some people is about playing with their kids and they want to be able to be on the floor, up and down the floor without pains in the knee or without getting
Yeah.
dizzy or without, getting any issues from that. It should be just a normal part of life.
Yeah.
Even if it's just carrying things from the supermarket, lifting whatever, I don't know,
Yeah.
moving the sofa in your house because you just want to rearrange your living room one day and you are alone and no one can help you. You have to do it on your
Yes.
own. So yes, I'm a personal trainer, and when you do strength training, you get aesthetic benefits. Like, yes, you'll develop muscle that will show eventually, but that takes a very, very long time. We can talk more in depth about
Yeah.
this in a bit, but that takes a very long time to happen. The first things you see when you start strength training, the first results you see are not usually visual. They are in how
Mm.
you feel. Your energy is different. You gain energy. It seems contradictory because you get very
Yes.
tired when you're doing it,
Yes.
but
Yes.
afterwards you gain energy. Your energy changes, your mood changes because when you train, you release the happy hormones, you release
Yes.
endorphins, right?
Yes.
So your mood completely changes. You might be like feeling totally down, and then you start doing some movement, and that shifts your mood changes there again, like I said. So energy level, mood changes, reduction of aches and pains, like common things that we think are normal for us to hurt because most of us just sit all the time in our jobs. So
Yeah.
hip pains, shoulder pains, back pains, neck pains, those are very typical for most
Yeah.
people over 30. So with the training, we can reduce all of that, and just general freedom of movement.
Okay, so everything you're saying
Yeah.
resonates so much with me because as a menopause educator and
Yeah.
coach, I am working with perimenopausal, menopausal women, every day. And one of the big things we know is that as our hormone levels fluctuate, as our hormone
Yes.
levels reach their new postmenopausal levels,
Yeah.
um, our body changes. Our body
Totally.
changes shape, but also how our body moves. Estrogen, as we know, is a
Yeah,
real fluid hormone. It brings suppleness, fluidity, movement
exactly.
to all the joints. And as
Hmm.
that reduces, everything gets a little bit more stiff.
Exactly.
In
Yeah.
addition to our lifestyle where we are sitting, we're not moving, we're not using our body as much, all of these things mean that we have more aches and pains. Our body becomes more stiff. Just as a natural part of our female aging. So, what you are
Exactly.
saying is so important because you're talking about everyday movement. You're not talking
Right.
about needing to, lift 10-kilo weights or 20-kilo weights. That's not the aim. The aim is everyday ease of movement without pain, and I love
Right.
that, and it's
Yeah.
so important. And as you said, that should not be anything that is unique. It shouldn't be a request, a luxury request that women have. I should be pain free. um,
I know.
so, so tell me a little bit about why strength training specifically is so important, especially for women as we age. What is it about this
Right.
type of movement that is so important for us?
Right. So, when you were saying this, I was just thinking there is a distinction between the strength training. So we want to focus on that and develop the muscle, and there's a reason for that. And then movement in general for
Excellent.
for
Okay.
in your everyday life. So they both have their benefits, and the benefits are different. And we hopefully want to have both. So when it comes to strength training itself and why we want to lift weights and why I push for women to lift weights, It's because, like you said, especially perimenopause, menopause, when we lose the estrogen, which is so important to us and for the muscle development and the correct joint function and all of this. If we don't have any muscle to protect the joints and to protect the bones, everything's going to go downhill. Right. Muscles
Okay.
are, again, like I said before, it's not just the way you look. I mean, you look amazing for sure. And no one will definitely want to mess with you when they see your muscles, right? So that's a good point too, extra point for strength training. But when you look inwards, what the
Yeah.
muscle is doing for you, it's giving you, well, there are the most common benefits, for example, is to help you with the joint strength and stabilization so you don't
Yeah.
break very much.
And you don't fall.
Things,
How many
and you don't
women
fall so
get
easily.
fall,
Exactly.
break a
We do a
hip,
lot of stuff. Yeah,
yeah, break a
exactly.
pelvis, break a bone?
Yeah, exactly. So we work on movement control and controlling what your body is doing, and that is through strengthening the joints. And you strengthen the joints by giving the muscles around it some volume, right? You grow the muscles around the joints because you cannot work on the joint directly.
Yeah.
It's just bone, but you grow the muscles around the joint to protect it. So the pain is reduced or hopefully gone in a lot of
Yeah.
cases, and it's more stable. So you will be less prone to falling. If you fall and something happens, probably you're going to recover much more quickly or
Yes.
not have such a big injury as if you didn't have that muscle there to protect you. And also for the bone health, like we, after 30, even before perimenopause, osteoporosis is a big thing, especially for women. And as
Hmm.
our bones degrade, the strength training and giving the body an outside stimulus of to pull, push, whatever we're doing with the weight, it helps rebuild the bone. It's not just the muscle that grows, but
Yeah.
it's the bone that gets stronger. And
Yeah.
it's has been proven. And it's not like it's magic, but as you build the muscle, then your
Yeah.
bones get stronger. So again, less prone to falling and breaking,
Breaking.
right?
Yeah.
Or breaking because I don't know, we get hit or hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, then so
So
for
so
me,
that
those are
that's
like
about
the
the
main
strength
things of
training.
strength
Yeah.
training. And also your metabolism changes. You burn more calories when you're just doing nothing. So that's a big plus. That helps
Yeah.
for especially for the women who are more focused on weight loss. Again, not what I specialize on, but a lot
Yeah.
of women who want to lose weight, the first thing they do, they'll do more cardio. They'll run, they'll walk, they cycle, they'll swim,
Yes.
and they'll just add tons of cardio into their life. And
Yes.
then, yes, you lose weight 100%, but you're losing muscle with that. You're losing water and you're losing muscle. It's not weight because you're losing fat.
Okay. And
So the
but if
moment you
you
stay put,
build up I really want you to clarify this point is that
right, if you build the
the
muscle,
difference of weight loss when you build muscle and when you
yeah,
do cardio.
yeah, we're going on a, sorry, this is me. My brain goes like this everywhere.
No, it's amazing. It's
Uh,
great.
so yeah, if you only do cardio, yes, you lose weight. Of course, in the scale, you lose weight, but because you're not doing anything else to sustain your body, then what you're losing mostly will be water and muscle,
Yeah.
not fat. So if you do strength training, more strength training than cardio, I'll say. I'm not saying cardio is wrong. It's actually
Yes,
very
yes, yes. It's
beneficial in its
important.
own way. It
Yes.
has its own benefits. But we need to put in the strength training at least 2 times a week or three. So we build the muscle, which will sustain that weight loss, but will also keep us healthier because
Yeah.
the muscle then it improves our metabolism. And again, it improves our bone health, it improves our joint health, it improves our energy levels,
And
it
am I
improves how
correct in
we use
saying,
insulin, how we use glucose, it improves
right,
most of your health markers can improve just by doing some strength training.
training. Am I correct in saying that you burn more fat with muscle?
In theory, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you said, like
Yeah.
if you're doing deep, intense cardio, you won't burn as much fat as if you are doing strength training and building up the muscle.
Right, exactly. Exactly. The muscle has a different way of
Yeah.
functioning than
Okay.
when you don't have it. I mean, we all have it at a certain level, but the more muscle you can develop, the more sustainable then uh, it will all be in the long term. Especially because it comes a time when you can only reduce so much the calories you eat to stay
Yes.
healthy, right?
Yes. Yes.
So to be honest, like if you do muscle training, if you do strength training, you can eat more. So, I mean,
Excellent.
if you're like me, I love eating, I don't want to lose weight just from not eating.
Eating.
Actually, I train a lot so I can eat a lot, you know?
Lot.
It just
Right.
balances out. You need more food when you're training for muscle
Yeah.
uh, uh, growth.
Okay.
But again, it's not my specialty in terms of weight loss.
Wait.
I just
Yes.
wanted to mention it because this is a
No,
very
it's
common thing I
important.
see. But again,
Super
strength
important.
training, why we do it is to develop the muscle because the muscle will then help us improve our bone health, improve our joint health, mood, energy, right? The metabolism at rest, and what is general, like reducing aches and pains and moving better through life.
Okay, so
And
that's what I
then,
want to ask you about. I want to
mm,
ask you about, because I know you are very much about healthy aging and longevity. So
yeah.
I want to bring this element into the conversation because for us it's all about not that we live longer, but it's about
Mm-hmm.
how we are living.
How?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
exactly.
no point us living to the age of 95 if we're going to be stuck in a bed or
Yeah,
on constant medication or in and out of hospitals.
makes no
So
sense. Yeah.
talk to me
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. You mentioned that your focus is about having more energy, just feeling better in your body, not what's
Yes.
going on the outside, but what's going on the
Yes.
inside.
Yeah.
And talk to me about this longevity piece of it,
Right.
because we know, especially with this whole menopause conversation, there is a lot of talk about how are we aging in postmenopause
Exactly.
when there's a lot of talk in the functional medicine space and in medicine in general about longevity and healthy aging and how we age. When the whole conversation about the blue zones came out, about the lifestyle, and I know we're going to talk about movement versus formal exercise.
Exactly.
So,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me a little bit about this element of longevity and how it plays a role for you.
Sure. So this is basically where this movement distinction comes in.
Yeah,
Um, so when you think of exercise and when you think of doing something, why I don't want to focus only on the looks is because, like you said, I want to age in a way that is worth living my life. If I am stuck in a bed, just
yeah,
please don't, I don't want to be here, right?
yeah,
But that, I mean, I know that's very personal appreciation, but this is just how I feel. And a lot of us think, and a lot of women especially, we think we have to do so many things and that
yeah,
we have to do it all. And maybe that's not what we need. We do need the strength training when it comes to longevity, when it comes to healthy aging, and this is because of some of the benefits I mentioned earlier. We do need the strength training on one side, but we also need just general movement on and like healthy habits on the
yeah,
sort of the other end of the scope. When I talk about general movement, what I mean is, again, because we tend to be seated for so long, how can we, what can we do that is part of our everyday life that
yeah,
doesn't require us to have to think, stop, and actually prepare for a formal training session.
yeah,
So what can we actually do to get our body to feel a little bit better? And there are very small things we can do, and they're just part of your life already. So, for example, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs.
yeah,
If you live 8 floors up and taking the stairs 8 floors is going to be too much for you, don't do that. I don't want to like, don't go all the way.
yeah,
Like from 0 to 100, it just doesn't work.
yes,
You need to
yes,
like progressively get there. But okay, maybe take 2 floors up the stairs and the rest on the elevator. Maybe go
right.
down the stairs at first instead of up.
Oh,
So those ways we can, when I say climb the stairs, it's not just oh, go all in. You don't need to. If
yes,
you're on zero at this moment, like let's say taking the elevator every day, everywhere you go, and
yeah,
all of a sudden you start climbing one floor in each
yeah,
of those trips, in each of those times,
yeah,
then something's going to change. You're going to start to feel different. Your
yeah,
body will start to feel different. Things like we take a lot of calls, right? Meetings all the time, and a lot of them are online nowadays.
yeah,
So you can maybe take a walk-in meeting instead of sitting, like
yeah,
pace around the house or around the block. right? If you're working in office and you have a lunch break, you don't need maybe the full hour. In Spain, we have 2 hours to eat. Imagine you don't need 2 hours to eat,
Yeah.
or one, even sometimes 1 hour. So use
Yeah.
some of that time to take a walk around the block
Yeah.
after you had your
It's,
food.
I love
Or
what you're
yeah,
saying because so many people have in their mindset, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, either before work or at the end of work. And
yes,
that's my exercise. And I'm moving and I'm healthy because I'm going to the gym every day, or I'm
yeah,
walking for an hour every day, or I'm doing something for an hour. But
yes,
my question always with my clients also is, and what are you doing the other 9, 10 hours
exactly.
of your day? And it's great you're working, you're moving for that 1 hour, but if you're
Yeah.
sitting in a chair for the other 9 hours, that 1 hour isn't going to help you. You'd be better to split
Yes.
that hour into 10-minute intervals throughout your day and do 10 minutes once an hour rather than just going to the gym and doing a full hour at the end of the day or the beginning of the day.
Right. So it's two different things, right? You don't need a full hour at the gym. That's another thing. Most
We're going
people
to talk
think they
about
need
that.
an
Yes.
hour and a half. We're going to talk about that. You can go very well with a little bit less. But let's say you do your formal training in a way, your gym or weight training at home. You don't need to go to the gym if you're scared of that. You can do weight training at home. Um, but let's say you do that 2 or 3 times a week and you do your hour or your
Yeah.
formal session, let's call it, right? That's perfect. Keep it up. You need that
Yeah.
for the muscle parts, right? We need that. But we also need to find ways to stay active through the day,
Yes.
especially the days that you're not doing any of that,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't need to be doing this every day and then burn out,
Yeah.
right? You need to give your body some rest, recovery time. That is also extremely important for the muscle to develop.
Yeah.
We need the rest and the recovery and the nutrition bits. But then you also need to stay active, just generally active for your
Yeah.
overall health and for your overall mobility in a way.
Yeah.
So this is what you can do. You can either take a walking meeting, climb the stairs a bit more, choose to park maybe a block further than you need to,
Yeah.
or if you take a metro, say go down one station earlier and walk a little bit. You don't need to do 10K every day. That's just a random number someone invented some long time ago and it just stuck with
Yes.
people. It
Yes.
doesn't need to be 10K. Whatever you can do.
Yeah.
Again, think of what you're doing today. How can you make that better? Right. So
Yeah.
maybe today you're not moving at all. So you start by taking a break that is an active break. So between your meetings, you wake up and do a few stretches for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's enough for you. You're doing nothing. Now you're doing something, right?
Right.
Or maybe you can say, okay, I'm just been sitting for so long, my hips are so tight. So I'm gonna take this 2 minutes and do 10 squats. That's it. Your
Yeah.
hips will feel better after that.
Yeah.
This, like you said, you can put in these 5 or 10 minutes chunks through the days. We call them exercise snacks. Funnily enough,
Nice.
they're called exercise snacks. So these exercise snacks are really useful to get you
Yeah.
to move through the day. It can
Yeah.
be, like I said, in between breaks from work or I don't know, just when you finish doing something, even like cleaning a room in your house can be your movement that day. Like things that we tend to think, oh, this is so hard to do. I don't have time. Where will I put this in my schedule? Just use whatever you're
Yes.
already doing and try to blend it in with that.
Yeah.
So that's an easy way
Amazing.
to start into movement in a way. And then, yes, like I
Amazing.
said, you have the formal bits of it, which
Yeah.
is great if you can do, but if you cannot do yet, just starting with a little bit of movement every day will already start bringing a difference
A
or
difference.
make feeling different. Like your body will start feeling different. Yeah.
Okay. Now we know this is really critical for perimenopause, menopause women. You mentioned something about already from the age of 30, you already experience aches and pains. Talk to me about younger women in their 20s and in their 30s. Um, Women who feel, I've got a younger body. I don't have those aches and pains. Why do I need to be thinking about this now? Again, we're not talking about the weight loss. We're talking about just looking after the long-term health and longevity of our bodies. Why would, a 28-year-old or a 35-year-old, why would this be of any relevance to them? they
Yeah.
feel strong and they can still do stuff and so why is it important to start, like, why is it important to pay attention to this when you're younger?
Um, this is more of a personal opinion. Like I think that when you start when you're younger, then by the time you get into perimenopause, you're already used to it.
Yeah,
It's already part of your life. It's a
yeah,
habit that you have formed. So I think starting younger will give you that sort of bit of learning, and all the learning curve you do it when you're younger, which tends to be easier. We have more time. We
yes,
can use that time and put it into the learning of this skill in a way of what I have to do for
yeah,
strength training in this case. Okay, what should I be doing? What can I do? How does this whole thing work? So you can
yeah,
learn your basics, you can really maximize your efforts too, because then your body will respond much more quickly than
yeah,
when you're older. It still responds when you're older, and there's a lot of people who start strength training when they're like 50, and then you see them in like weightlifting meets breaking records, and that's a case. There are
yeah,
many cases.
yeah,
So it is still possible. It's just easier when we're younger. We just have more energy, a little bit more time, so we can potentially focus some of that energy and time into this learning and into developing the muscle,
okay,
and already sort of getting into the habit
yeah,
of this. Because then when life gets harder, say you start work or and you have crazy hours, or you get your own business, which is even crazier, or if you have kids, whatever
yeah,
is the case, your time will be reduced. The time
yes,
for yourself will be
yes,
reduced. So if you're already in the habit of exercising, then it's going to be a lot easier
yeah.
mentally to be able to fit this into your life. That's for me
And
one of the main
does it
things.
actually help you in terms of navigating your aging if you've already, if you did it when you're younger, then maybe you don't do it as much, but are you able to
It's
build things that
yes,
are going to last with you as you age?
yes, yes. So there's another trick that muscle has, is that if you've been training for a long time, couple of years, say, right? And then you have to stop for a year. It's fine.
Yeah,
You will lose some of that muscle, 100%.
yeah,
But when you go back to training, it's going to be a lot easier to
easier.
get to where you were
Right.
that previous year than if you've never trained before, that if it's your first time. Like when you start training, you have a period that we call newbie gains. And this
Yeah,
is when you're from zero and you start, you'll see a lot of muscle growth very quickly, like in the first 3 months. Then it sort of stabilizes and it's harder and harder every time.
yes,
But you get to a point where after years of training, you develop certain amount of muscle and you'll probably stay there more or less.
yes. It
Like I've been
doesn't
training
keep
for
going up and up.
no, no. I mean, I've been training for 10 years. This is what you get. This is what I got. This is what my body can do.
Right.
Uh
that's your
yeah,
limit.
that's my thing, right? So
But I assume that
but
you
like
keep training to
right, to
maintain.
maintain it. Exactly. So if you stop training for whatever reason, like I had an injury, for example, I had
Yeah,
to stop training for like 9 months. I lost muscle,
yeah,
definitely because you stop moving. So I did lose muscle, but then when I got back into it, it was a lot easier for me to get to lift the same I was lifting before the
yeah,
injury. I managed to get to that point a lot quicker than at the beginning, than when I got
yeah,
there the first time.
yeah,
So your body has that memory, your muscle has that memory, you
yeah.
know? So it's really beneficial to do it as soon as we can, even if we have to stop at some point. Uh, because it will be a lot easier to regain it when we need it
Okay,
again.
amazing.
So that for sure, in that sense, it helps. Yeah.
Okay. So
Hmm.
let me ask you, and I'm gonna use myself
Please.
as an example. I'm 50. I'm in, perimenopause. I
Hmm.
have my own business. I'm a busy mom with kids. I have, you know, a regular busy
Things going
life,
on. Yeah.
as many women in midlife have. I do yoga. And
Okay.
so in yoga, I do body weight, like my own
Body
body
weight.
weight
Yeah.
strength training when I practice yoga. I hate the gym. I would rather do anything other than go to the gym. but I'm
Right.
very consciously aware of moving my body. So I clean
Okay.
my house. I don't have a cleaner. I clean my house.
That's fine.
I do shopping. I pay attention to
Perfect.
lifting up heavy bags. We have a dog, so I've started
You walk
taking
the
the
dog.
dog for
Yeah.
a walk. Not, not hours and hours, but I'm doing it more than I ever did before. So
Great.
I'm a regular, busy woman, and the thought for me of strength training fills me with fear. And let's sort of break it down. What would it look like for
Okay.
a regular woman, for someone who, the preconceived ideas of what,
Right.
we have of what strength training is, what it means, what it looks like, limited amount of time, sort of help us unpack
I-
and bust some
I'll
of the
try. I'll
myths
try. I'll
and
do my
some of the
best.
things.
Because there's a lot there. So, in a way, um, when we think of, yeah, we have so many things going on, and I'll take your case again because you're already moving a lot. So movement for you is something already sort of
Yeah,
natural, right? But because you have this fear that it could be, so I mean, if we were like doing a proper consultation and whatnot, I will try to find out where this fear comes from
yeah,
because then we need to unpack it a little bit. But in general terms, I focus on training women at home.
amazing.
Like people either come to my place or they train online with me, but they buy their own equipment, which is a set of
Right.
weights that anyone can get access to. So, like a basic set of weights and resistance bands.
Yeah,
That's how we train. And
amazing.
there are results that will come with that. It is different than training in a gym, yes, because it's a bit more limited in terms of how much weight you can have at the house, right? But when you are starting, it is incredibly useful.
Yeah,
And I have found that having people in a sort of intimate or well-known setting, which is either their houses or my house,
yeah,
um, and just being with me because it's just me and you. There's no one else in the room,
yeah,
no one judging you, no one looking at you, no one that you can be afraid of.
yeah,
Then I found that that has helped lowered a lot of people's anxiety when it comes to strength training. So I've gotten things like I'm scared of the gym. I think I'm gonna get bulky if I lift a 2 kilo weight.
yeah,
I don't want to be looking like a man, and I don't know. I'm afraid I'm gonna be super sore after the session. I get all those questions,
yeah,
and this comes from different things. It comes from maybe in the very long time ago, the gym used to be a place for men.
yeah,
Women needed to be skinny and take very little space, and we needed to be like Spain and not occupy any room anywhere we went and barely talk. Like this is all changing, luckily.
yes,
Um, so there's a few things again. So if you're a person that is scared of going to the gym, of course we'll need to figure out why. But the first thing you can do is start training at home.
yeah,
Get a trainer.
yeah,
And I'm not saying this because it's my business. I'm saying it because a lot of people, a lot of times, the fear comes from lack of knowledge. So we
yes,
don't know what to do. We don't know where to start. How do I even lift this weight without getting hurt?
yeah,
So that is a great fear that a lot of people have, and it's a reasonable fear. I want to
yeah,
be doing an exercise in a way that doesn't get me hurt. I want it to help me, right?
yeah,
So if I've never done a squat in my life, get someone to teach you how to do it, right?
yeah,
And that's where trainers come in. That's where we come in.
yeah,
Actually, whenever I have a new client, whenever I onboard a new client, my first thing is, it would be amazing if you're with me your whole life. This is my job, but I don't want that for you. I want to
yeah,
teach you. I want to bring you the tools so that you can do this on your own, right?
right,
That's for the long term. That's how it's sustainable.
yeah,
So get someone that can help you. Uh, Sort of have a schedule or have a plan of what you're going to do. Start from home, get a set of weights, start from home. Adjustable weights are amazing.
yeah,
And you can start from home with a good program or with classes with a trainer. You can totally start this from home without having to go to the gym. And then when you're ready, if you want to, you go to the gym. And if you don't, just stick to training from home.
home,
Yeah, the important thing is that we do it
right,
and that we slowly progress. When it comes to I'm scared of being super sore, we start very gently. The idea is a lot of us, especially, I don't know why we are the way we are, but we go from 0 to 100 just like that. We know
Yeah.
no midterms, and that's not the way this is gonna work. If you've
Okay.
never lifted a weight in your life and you suddenly want to lift a 50 kilo, you are going to be dead tomorrow. Like seriously
Yeah.
tired, sore. You're not going to be wanting to lift a weight ever in your life again.
Yeah.
So again, someone to guide you that can help you understand that you start slow.
Yeah.
It's much better if your first sessions are easy
Yeah.
and then you have your whole life to add weight to it,
Yeah.
right? So then you can increase the weight. There's a concept called progressive overload, which is that just regularly increasing the intensity of our work, either by adding weights or by adding some more repetitions, by adding some more sets to what you're doing. So you slowly grow, you
Yeah.
slowly improve as your strength improves, as your muscle grows, then you can also increase the weights and you can all this from home, right? And I lost something else that I wanted to say.
No, I
uh,
think that's really important because I think that there
oh,
is,
the time
yes,
thing.
go. Yes,
That's
yes,
the
yes.
one I wanted to say. So when it comes to training, formal training, like I said earlier, we tend to think we need an hour and a half, and this is from what we
Yes.
see, right?
Yes.
It's
Like there's
the
no point, you
information we have
can't do
access to
anything in less than an
in
hour.
less than a half, exactly. But
Yeah.
it's not like that. Personally, my brain shuts off at 45 minutes. I'm training. I have a plan for myself when I go to the
Yeah.
gym. I go to the gym because I work from home all day, so I need to get myself out.
Out.
But when I go and train, my
Yeah.
brain shuts off at the 45-minute mark. So I designed a
Yeah.
plan where I do a certain number of exercises and I work for 45 minutes. Some people
Amazing.
can only do 30 minutes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
In my book, and I mean, this it also brings result. It's just maybe a bit of a slower. You need more time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not going to be as fast. It's never fast, but like it's different if you train for 30 minutes to training for an hour, but you can still manage in like 2 or 3 sessions of 30 minutes a day
Yeah.
with a well-designed program with a guidance so that you know what you're doing and how
Yeah.
you're improving. But you can still fit that in and see results.
So I want to ask you about the seeing results. We've talked about the result. Firstly, I love what you're saying that these preconceived ideas of how strength training needs to look, it doesn't need to look any way like we imagine. It can look however you want it to look with, working with you or someone like you and to
Yeah.
really do it in the way that is suits you and your needs.
Okay.
And we've spoken about the fact that this is not the focus here is not losing weight and getting into a dress size, even though that may happen. And it's
Hmm.
very much about really building up your body, reducing all the aches and pains, and really learning, supporting your body as you age. Um, if, for example, for me, I've never done this before, what are my expectations of how long it's going to take until I feel better, until I feel what are the results I would see if
Gotcha.
we're not focused on, you know, I think sometimes the weight, when you stand on the scales, it's a number, it's a very tangible thing.
Yeah.
This is working because the numbers dropped, or this is
Right.
working because I fit this dress size and now I fit this dress size. So if someone wants to know, like, is this working? How would they see the results and how long could you expect it would take?
Gotcha. So the reality is that it's different for every person.
Yeah.
It depends on where you start from. Like, what's your starting point? Have you ever trained before? Have you ever done this before? Is it your first time?
Yeah.
Um, where are you health-wise? I have people who come to me and are like, well, I have a high insulin resistance, or I'm pre-diabetic, or I have high cholesterol. So, um, and also the results depend on what you want from it, right? Why do you start this, right?
Yeah.
So if when I did have this question one, like, are you gonna ask me to take pictures before and after? I'm like, no, no, no way, that's not
Oh, I
me.
love that. I love
And this
that.
is because they had a trainer before that asked them to do that and they were not comfortable with that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what I want to get with is the results are going to be measured in a way that suits you. So, what do you want from this? Do you want to it's your hip aching and you want that pain gone, right? Or
Right.
like I said, you want to put the luggage on the overhead compartment of the plane without any help. What does what does the result mean for you? What's your goal,
Right.
right? So based
Right.
on that, then we can measure the results. I do have a way of measuring, which is how people progress on their weights and sets and reps, which is something I
Right.
write down that's tangible. I have a sheet for every client, and I can
Yeah.
show them that we can see that. But that's not really what they want. At least
No.
not the people who choose to work with me. What they
Yeah.
want is, okay, if I'm starting this training because I want to be able to walk my dogs without falling on the ground, the
Yeah.
result, I will see it when I'm able to do that,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's very personal.
I
But
love that.
in general terms, if you want to talk a little bit in general terms, like when it comes to gaining energy and feeling better, that's something that usually happens in just a couple of weeks.
Wow.
That's something you can get in a couple of weeks. Then you get general things that can happen, like improvements in how you sleep, how you rest, and how you recover. Like the first weeks, you're gonna feel sore. It's completely normal. But then
Yeah.
after like a month or two, you'll see your body recovers much quickly. It's much
Yeah.
easier. You might even sleep better, unless you have any underlying issues, that we cannot sort just with movement. When it comes to gaining muscle, it's also very relative. Like I said, you have this newbie game. So if you're on zero, you've
Yeah.
never lifted a weight in your life, maybe in 2 or 3 months you'll see some muscle, especially
Right.
around the leaner areas of the body, like the arms, the shoulders. We tend to be
Yeah.
leaner in those areas, so it's going to be more visible. But otherwise, visibility of the muscle, it's again very relative, but it takes a long time to develop, years to develop,
Yeah, I think
you
that's a
know?
really important point to
Yeah.
say is that if you really want to, if a lot of women don't, but if you really want to visibly see the muscle, that's not going to happen in 6 months. That
No, and it's
is,
also not only the training. You need a lot of
yeah,
nutrition to go with that. So it's a very specific goal if you're working on looking or yeah, building the muscle and then being for the muscle to be more visible, you have to be leaner, which is losing fat, and
right.
that is a tricky road to walk because we
Yeah,
women need a lot of fat to survive, like our hormones. You know this better than I
yes,
do. But then you want to work with in that case, if that's your goal, that's fantastic. That's your goal. You want to
yeah,
work with a nutritionist too, not just with a trainer. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
And just a warning out there because there's a lot of trainers that will try to sell you nutrition. If the person is not a nutritionist or a registered dietitian, do not take nutrition advice for them. I don't give it. I don't consider myself
yeah,
qualified for it. I can tell you what I eat and how I manage, but like I eat meat, for example. So if you're a vegetarian, I'm screwed. I don't know what to tell you about your protein intake.
yes,
Like I can tell you a
yes,
general thing,
yes,
but work with someone who really knows about that too, because it can be very tricky.
yeah,
But
that's very
again, that
important.
would be like a different sort of goal, and it's again totally valid.
Amazing. I
But
love that.
in general, for energy, mood improvements, and reduction of aches and pains, it's something that comes quite quickly,
Amazing.
quite quickly. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, this is really, really interesting. And I love everything you're saying here. And I think you're giving a really
Thank you.
sensible perspective on this. And I think that your approach is really, really unique because you're not saying, this is my program, everyone does the same program, and everyone has the same aim. And you're really talking about it from a really different perspective. I think something that is really going to resonate with so many people listening. Um,
Oh.
is there anything that you really want to share? Anything that you really want people to know? We're going to talk about sort of the older women in a minute. I'm going to ask you, what you want the younger generation to know. But anything that you really think that women, especially midlife women, really need to know about strength training, about
Yeah.
movement, about sort of something that maybe I haven't asked you that you want to just share?
Basically, for women, for older women, in a way, if you want, and for people who think they are too old, you're not too old.
Yes.
You're not too old at all. Like I think I said this before, like there are people who have started training in their 50s and 60s, and nowadays they're like going to competitions and getting records for their age group, right?
Right.
Of lifting. So you're never too old. It may feel like you are, it may feel difficult. It will
Yeah.
be difficult. I'm not saying this is easy. Yeah, it will be hard. It requires a lot of consistency.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of patience. And something that I recently share with my clients too is in my newsletter is it requires a lot of self-compassion and self-love.
Oh,
Like I feel my personal take is you need to do this because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself.
oh, wow.
This is why
Wow.
I do it, and this is what I want people to know. So you can do it at any age. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Just do whatever fits your age. If
Yeah.
you are a person who always did some sport, maybe you can do something in a special something. If you've
Yeah.
never done anything and you're like 60 or 70, start where you can start. Start where you're at. Find someone who can meet you where you are too, because
Yeah.
of course we are a million trainers, a billion people, billions of people in the world. So there's always someone that will suit you
That'll
better,
salute you.
you know?
I
So
love
find
that.
someone
What
that
you
can meet you where you
said,
are.
yeah, what you said is so powerful. Is you've got to do it because you love your body, not because you hate your body. Because
Yeah.
so many people go into this direction because they hate the way they look. They
You're
hate the
always
way
gonna
they
give up.
look.
You're always gonna give up because you're never gonna be happy. There's
Yeah.
always something else.
Yeah.
My personal experience is that with exercise and with training from when I was younger, right?
Yeah.
And how it changed. Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really powerful. So, as we end our conversation, this podcast is called Things I Want My Daughters to Know. I want to ask you if you have a daughter or nieces or goddaughters or just, women of the next generation, what is the thing that you want them to know?
Right. So I don't have kids, but I do have I call them my nieces, but they're actually the children of my cousin who is just like a sister to me.
Amazing.
I mean I known them since they were babies, and they grew up with me in a way.
Yeah.
And what if I think of girls like them and younger girls today, and this is because I'm seeing this happening again, which is what happened to us when we were kids.
Yeah.
The Unfortunately, the message and the culture of being thin is coming back.
Yeah.
There was a sweet, beautiful time when women needed to be bigger and musclier and stronger. It didn't last for long, but now this tendency or trend, I want to say the trend of being skinny is coming back. And social media, Instagram and TikTok and things. Some things I don't use myself. I don't use TikTok, but I've seen it out there.
Yeah.
And younger kids, they're using mostly TikTok for their information in a
Yeah.
way. And I see this trend again of let's be skinny, let's not eat and whatnot. And I just
Yeah.
that my main thing is uh hopefully don't go that way. That's not the
Yeah.
way. It's going to be very nice when you're young because it's easy to sustain in a way,
Yeah.
but it's going to be very mentally taxing, and it's going to bring you health issues long term, not
Yeah.
just with your body, but also with your mental health.
Yeah.
It brings, I mean, the consequences of suffering from that kind of body dysmorphia or pressure or peer pressure, also
Yeah.
into being skinny or not eating or whatnot, they have a long-term effect on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen people who are 80 and they still think, oh, I'm fat, I have to lose weight. You're
Wow.
80.
Wow.
You move on your own, you garden every day, you walk your dogs, you do Pilates, you do strength training, but you still think you need to be skinny
Yeah.
and you're 80 because you
Yeah.
grow up like that. So it
Yeah.
really burns like it really sticks with us,
Yeah.
and we cannot let it go.
Yeah.
So my message is it's just that try to find other role models for your life. Look at your moms and look at your grandmas and if you don't have a mom or a grandma that is a good role model, then look out
Yeah.
and see who you can find that can talk to you about health, like training and eating, but for your health and
Yeah.
not just to be skinny.
I think it's a really good message that look at the old, it's difficult, when you're a teen or when you're in your 20s, it's difficult to look at old women because they seem so distant and so far
Hmm.
away from your reality. But who is a happy 80-year-old? A happy
Right.
80-year-old is a woman that, as we've said, can get out of bed by herself, can
Yeah.
move around the house by herself,
Right.
can do her shopping by herself. That, even if she falls, God forbid, she can pick
She
herself
can get
up.
back up.
She
Yeah.
may have a bruise, but she won't have a broken bone.
Exactly.
That is a happy 80-year-old, not an 80-year-old who is skinny, who can who can fit into a size whatever dress. That isn't going to be
Exactly.
a happy 80-year-old.
No.
Um, when you're 25, that's not always so easy to look
It's
at.
not
But
easy at all. Like someone that is 40 is old for you. So
yeah, yeah. But I think it's very interesting that you say that skinny is coming back, and there definitely was a time
it's
where
scary.
we really rebelled
Yeah.
against, and fashion houses and everyone and TV ads, and they really rebelled against that very skinny um, sort of image,
Uh-huh.
and it's scary that it's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's a very good message. You've shared some amazing, amazing things with us. Tell us, how can people get hold of you? Where can they reach you? Where are you available?
So basically, like I said, because I work online, anyone can work with me, any woman all over the world, doesn't matter. If we can fit it in. And my website is Grow Strong Her. So it's Grow Strong Her with
I love
H
that.
dot
I
com.
love that.
And then so they can see my information there, send me a consultation if they want to chat with me. There's also my Instagram link there, but Instagram is Grow Strong Her with me. And you
Amazing.
can follow me there for any updates. But that's basically my two main platforms in a way.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. This has been so interesting, and you really
been a
have brought
pleasure.
a different perspective to it. And I've loved every minute of this. So thank you for joining me um, for this podcast episode of Things I Want My Daughters to Know. It's been great to have you. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for watching. Reach out to Vanessa, reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode of the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast. Have a great day.